So before we wrap up, let's go through some shit shows. Flegs or TA, Bree, you got one? Got an example for Todd?
Listen, I don't really have like a shit show in the way that you normally do it, but I had to go and get groceries on Friday because, okay, we just haven't gone to the store in like 3 weeks because we've literally just been fucking off so hard. But I
I thought you were going to blame it on coronavirus.
Yeah,
like,
me
no, we were
too.
just fucking off.
I told Marco, I'm like, oh my God, I'm so pissed because now I'm going to go to the store and I just have to buy normal stuff. And the kids are on spring break next week. So I'm like, and I have to load up on all this stuff so that like they'll leave me the hell alone and they can make their own food. And so I'm like, they're going to think I'm panic buying and I'm just like this dumb girl, whatever. But whatever. Okay. So I go in there. And I'm stocking up on the stuff that people should be like grilling meats and fun shit and snacks for these crazy children. And I go down to look at like wing sauce and I'm getting like the mac and cheese stuff for them. And these ladies almost like attack me. And I'm like, whoa, I'm just looking at this stuff. I'm just trying to reach up here. Like, don't touch the ramen noodles. And I'm like, I haven't eaten ramen noodles since like high school. Why are you even buying those? So then there's two grown ass, old ass women are almost fighting each other. They're like on their hands and knees, throwing their whole body into this bottom shelf, trying to find like every packet of ramen noodles. And I'm just like, can I just like step over you and get this mac and cheese up here? But they were like crazy. It was crazy. And I see everybody, they all had ramen noodles in their car. And I'm like, did I miss something? Like,
Yeah,
last
'cause
time I checked, it didn't break down.
those people actually think the world's coming to an end. Which ramen noodles, good grab. Yeah, for pre-apocalypse, good grab. But you're like, no, I just need some tuna fish.
Yeah, well, when you're dead, they'll be able to, see that you ate ramen noodles 7 years ago or something. It was just crazy. But they were just, everybody was just a shit show, and it was insane. So.
Oh man.
And we also have no toilet paper anywhere.
Yeah, it's the same way here, dude. Same way here. It's fucking nuts. I don't get it.
We just don't get it. Like, what the fuck do you're not, this isn't a stomach virus. You're not going to be shitting all the time.
I told Marco, I'm just kind of planning on, if I do get it, I'm just taking like a 3-day vacation and y'all have to wait on me hand and foot.
Yeah, I know.
Like, watching murder stuff.
I can hang. If this goes full zombie apocalypse, like I can wipe my ass with anything, by the way. I can
least of my concerns.
I have a lot of towels. I'll wipe my ass with a towel and keep washing it in water every night, like it's not going to be end of the world. Like that's the last thing I worry about prioritizing is fucking toilet paper. Like,
you know what? Let's talk about how psychopath you are at folding up toilet paper 3 times.
Yeah, it's a little questionable, Todd.
And I don't know how I developed that either. It just I have weird OCD about the weirdest shit, and it's not across the board OCD. It's only about certain things. Like I'm a nut bag about like putting chip clips back on chips after you open chips. Marnie she just throws them in there, and I'm like these motherfuckers get stale. And I get them in here and grab a handful of Doritos, and they're fucking stale. I'm gonna lose my shit.
Hey, pro tip for you: my great aunt taught me this. Any chips, you can just freeze them.
Oh, I never thought about that.
They never go stale. They're old and they have like this beautiful motorhome, so they're on the road all the time. They live in Florida, they just love snacking. They grew up in Indiana or whatever.
Yeah.
They just buy like 4 or 5 different chips or whatever. And you just fold it up and you can just throw it in the freezer, or you could even leave it open. They will never go stale. And guess what? Cold Doritos just taste like room temperature Doritos, but they're a little bit more refreshing in August.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
Nothing like a little crisp, bite into a cold Dorito. Dead fucking serious. Pro tip.
I never even thought about that. It makes perfect sense.
I grew up doing that because she taught me that. Wow. But like when my friends come over, they're like looking through the cabinet, like, "Where's your fucking potato chips?" I'm like, dude, the freezer. I'm not an idiot.
You know what that makes me want to do immediately is freeze my fucking cereal.
Oh,
same concept.
Man,
dude, my cinnamon toast crunch out of the freezer into my milk. It's going to be even colder. It's like little ice cubes that are delicious floating in my milk. So all my milk's colder.
Damn it. How do
we might have just discovered the greatest thing that ever
how
happened.
do we make this monetize? How can we
Welcome back to
monetize
Vitamin
this?
Thoughts.
Yeah.
We need to we need to somehow come up with like a freezable container for the cereal industry.
You're right.
Oh man, we need to make money off this.
Dude.
Marty's gonna come home and be like, "Why the fuck is the freezer filled with
Why are there
You got a
7
new
boxes?
chest freezer?
Yeah. Why are there 7 boxes of cereal in the freezer?
She's gonna think you started smoking a bunch of weed all over again."
Oh shit!
I do want to do that now. I so badly want to try to freeze my Cinnamon Toast Crunch and see what it's like in my bowl of milk now.
Man, what else can go stale? Because I bet you if you just freeze it, man, we're not going to need pantries anymore. It's
Well, the
just gonna
beautiful
be
thing about
freezers.
all those things is like meat. Okay, when you freeze meat, now you have a thaw process you got to worry about.
Right.
Like you got to thaw the shit out before you can do anything with it.
Yeah.
Not with that shit. Like that shit, by the way, would thaw out in like 2 minutes. If you didn't even want it to be cold.
Right. Yeah, I guess I always thought more people knew about that, but every single time like someone new interacts with me and for whatever reason needs chips, they're just like, that is the weirdest thing in the world. I'm like, yeah, but poke a hole in that logic. Okay? Because Aunt Fawn is a gajillionaire and she's not an idiot.
Yeah.
They can't.
Dude, I don't know. I can't believe I've never heard of that before because it makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
why don't you
spread
tell
the word.
people? Why don't you tell people that come at you about the documentary when you're trying to prove you're not stupid? Why don't you just tell them that? Also, Tanner,
Who's
you
the
messed
idiot
up.
now?
Yeah, and now that I know that you have insider information on that, I'm gonna blow it up like I did with Todd. I'm surprised that I am not muted on everybody's.
Oh, shit.
I have so many questions.
Yeah, anytime you want to come back on, Todd, we'll talk cereal, chips, trash stories, all the important shit.
Well, get a hold of me. Do you guys usually do it like this time of night or whatever? Because it works out for everybody's time zone.
Yeah, I think lately we've been doing like Sunday nights, I think at 8 Central.
Okay.
Yeah, 8.
Central.
Yeah, and then
Central, Todd.
we do
I don't do time zones, bro. I don't know. I just know my time. And we just changed, right? So you guys are obviously an hour ahead of us. Oh, fuck.
Yeah.
See, I don't even know. In Indiana, we didn't have time zones forever. We had.
I know that pissed me off so.
You
bad.
didn't have time zones?
No,
So I grew up almost
It
my
never
entire
changed.
life not ever having to worry about time change.
Oh, so you were like Eastern half the year, Central the other half the year,
Yes.
technically.
Yeah, technically. Yeah, we were.
Oh,
Depending who you were around us, you were with us half the year. We were with Illinois this time or whatever.
right. I got a buddy in Kentucky. His fucking town is split on the time zone, and his mom worked in the one and his dad worked in the other, and they'd always be getting shit crossed. So he said, like, when he turned 18, he moved the fuck out of there. And he stayed in one time zone.
That's fucked up. Yeah.
I don't know how he would do that. I work in Virginia and then I live in Iowa. And then we also, all of our computer tech is in Pacific time. So they're always like, meet us here at this time in this meeting. I'm like, I don't even know. Just somebody tell me what time, my time. Like, I don't know.
Yeah. I always have to do that, like conference calls and stuff, like with Audio Boom or like my merch people or whatever. I'm always like, what time is that Eastern? What time are we calling each other Eastern time?
Let's talk in
I do a
Todd
lot
time.
of Googling.
Yeah.
I'm like, hey, Google, if my boss emailed me and said I need to meet him in this meeting at this time, Pacific time, what time does that mean for Central time? Question mark.
I wasn't fucking lying about the crazy shit you Google.
You Google it just like that?
I do, and I'll like sometimes ask it like 2 questions at once. So like,
God damn
it's
it.
ridiculous. Yeah,
Bree,
it's so
there's
stupid.
going to be a documentary about you someday, and Todd's going to review it.
And
This is a real.
I wouldn't be surprised. He said he's always looking for stupid things to do me.
This is a real thing I have. Like, I have an impairment of some kind with certain things. So, like time zones, right? Even though you tell me we are an hour ahead of you, like I'll know that because I'll Google wherever I'm traveling to for comedy, current time in blah, 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 blah. And I'll see it. Okay. It's an hour earlier there now than it is here. it takes me forever to figure out in my mind when I need to leave. Like, it just doesn't compute. It does not make sense. And there's a couple things like that where it's just like I'm like learning impaired or something. Like I have a block. Like sometimes with instructions, I'm putting things together. Like I'm pretty handy, but when I look at instructions, I'm like, it's not processed. I'll have to have Barney look at it and like tell me what the next step is and what goes together. It's the weirdest thing. There's a few things in my life like that, and it's like almost debilitating in some way. Like,
listen, I do that, but I've been saying I'm stupid. I'm going to start saying I have a block, like you do. It sounds way better than I don't know. I'm really stupid right now. I don't know. My brain doesn't work.
Next time, Todd, I'll translate for you, bud.
Yeah, I need to. Yeah. But
So
this has
Todd,
been fun. Let me know next. I'll do this a lot. This is fun. It's a good time of night. Usually, like into the night, it's not an issue either way where I'm at. As long as if I'm on the road, I have it decent enough internet or whatever.
do you have a local shit show or anything that comes to mind that you can share? And if you don't, it's okay.
Let me think real quick while you're going around the horn. Are you already done? Or is it? Am I the last one?
I can do one, but you got one, TA or Flex?
I got one.
Let's hear it, buddy.
So a few years ago, Nebraska decided to move the state fair from Lincoln to Grand Island, which is an hour away from me. And they've been losing money ever since. And it turns out the person who was running the fair committee and the financial, I don't know what they call them, just like the dude who looked after the finances, turns out they were embezzling money from the state and engaged in a full-on cover-up.
Hell yeah.
Oh shit!
State Patrol busted in and had digital evidence of their actions, and they're being charged properly.
Jesus Christ!
Robbing FFA kids of showing fucking cattle at the state fair. That's a special level of crooked.
That's some Nebraska shit right there.
Yeah. I mean, Jesus Christ! These kids are future farmers of America. I mean, what are you doing?
God damn it.
I disagreed with the bonehead move of moving it from the state capital of Lincoln to Grand Island, which, because our state fair is held in September. What else is going on in September? College football games. It's
Right.
Like, hello, you're going to lose money.
Right.
So I just always thought of it as a boneheaded move. Turns out it was a boneheaded move to embezzle money.
Yeah. That was the grand design.
Oh man. Flegs, you got a local shit show?
Nah, I'm out today.
I just got it's just a funny story. So this obviously there's COVID-19, coronavirus, and all that, and everyone has their own opinion and shit. But I went to a small little ag college, River Falls, and their claim to fame, their nickname is Moo You. Okay, like it's all dairy, and we're weird. I'm in Wisconsin, but our dairy club is like an elite dairy club, and that's like. I mean, there's like 150 kids in this fucking dairy club, and every other year, their biggest fundraiser is this heifer sale. And they bring in like 70 animals. They get consignments from farms all around Minnesota, Wisconsin, Iowa, and stuff. And they're selling like pristine genetics. I mean, I don't know how to explain it to non-farm people, but like Westminster Kennel Club dogs, that level of animal, okay? But in the dairy world. Okay, so these are like pristine animals. And the last few prices have been down because the dairy economy's been shit, but it's had a little bit of an uptick. But they figured with this COVID-19 shit going around, no one was going to show up, and they had to get like a special exemption from the state to keep it open or whatever. And luckily, the chancellor loves the College of Ag, so he fought pretty hard. There were 250 motherfuckers there with bidding numbers, so probably like 400 people at this heifer sale this weekend. It's like the third biggest turnout they've ever had, and they've been doing it since the 80s.
They had no sports left.
Yeah.
What are they gonna do?
They ran, like I said, 70 animals through this sale ring, and it just went seamlessly. And it's a big party for a lot of alumni. That's why I went back or whatever. Uh-huh. But not one mention of like the coronavirus during it, whatever. But you look around and you just see like these farmers, shit covered bib overalls. And like guys who I have seen drop a hot dog on the bar or the floor of a bar, pick it up and eat it. They're blasting Purell on their hands like every 30 minutes, sharing it with their wife and stuff. And I'm looking around, and I was by Brittany, my girlfriend. I'm like, these fucking guys are like so stubborn. They're gonna get killed at this from the virus, but damn it, their hands are gonna be clean, and they're gonna come home with some nice cattle for their fucking kids. I had to share that because I just thought it was so funny. Like it was an awesome time. Shout out to River Falls, but yeah, these farmers, like, they're stubborn, but they're not dumb. I mean, they're gonna keep their shit clean.
I don't know if this is really fits the theme, but you know how little places are famous for weird little things. Like we have Milan, Indiana, right? Flags, which is Hickory from the movie Hoosiers, you know, the state title or whatever.
Okay. Bobby
Plump was the real guy, not what's his name in the movie? Jimmy Chitwood.
Jimmy Chitwood, yeah.
So I told you I worked a gambling boat in Lawrenceburg, Indiana, and nothing ever to do there. Just boring, not much police work to be done. Well, one day, finally, there was a guy that was robbing the shit out of banks in like the tri-state area, but he was really killing like central Indiana. And I'm bored out of my mind, right? So I'm researching these stories on the newfound internet that we had on the boat, and I'm doing my research, and I'm looking at the robberies and stuff. And then they put out a little bulletin too on this guy. This guy Brooks Wilson we had was awesome at working bank robberies, and he was in Indianapolis, kind of a legend. He worked for the FBI task force, their bank robbery task force. So he sends out a bulletin with the information on it. So I'm researching it, and I'm looking at all the banks and stuff, and I'm like, man, if I think this guy lives, I think Franklin, Indiana. I think if we look at, like, I drew a circle, all these banks, like Franklin, Indiana is kind of in the middle of all these banks he hit. And I think it makes sense that he lives in Franklin. Just forward. I had nothing to do with the case or whatever. I'm just doing it. And I send that to Brooks, and he's like, you know, we ended up being good friends. He was my boss after a while, but at the time he's like, whatever, fucking rookie. Why don't you ride your little gambling boat? Let me worry about the bank robberies. So, then I take a picture of that guy, and I send out to all security because I'm just bored. I'm like, hey, everybody, let me know if you see this guy come on the boat ever, because he robs banks. Maybe he visits casinos and to launder his money. So sure enough, I sent that out. An hour later, a bank in Cincinnati gets robbed. And then a bulletin comes out that they think it's Brooks's guy. The guy I think lives in Franklin, Indiana. So then I hit up security, and I'm like, all right, now I'm serious. Everybody look for this fucking guy. Here's his face. Get on the cameras, start scanning faces, see if this guy comes here. Here's the plate information. Security, go out in the parking lot and check for this plate number and car. And now the old guys I'm with on the boat, they're like kind of done being cops. That's why they're on the boat. They like want to, you know, a little vacation before they retire. So they give a fuck less about police work, and they're giving me hell. They're like, look at this fucking kid. You know, he wants to be a cop so bad, and he's on this boat and he hates it, and he's trying to do something, but he's stupid. And an hour later, security comes back and says, hey, that car's in the parking lot. It's at one of the parking lots to the casino, and you have to shuttle at that time from that parking lot to the casino. Like, holy fuck, he's in the casino. Everybody, that picture, like, let's start walking through the casino and find this bank robber. So we can't find him anywhere. And next thing I know, security says, hey, that car's not here anymore. And I'm like, somebody's supposed to be watching the car. What in the fuck? The car's gone. So I get into my car, and I'm like, it had to just have left. So I run out, get in my car, drive out, and I just start driving through Lawrenceburg, Indiana, on the main road that cuts through town, trying to find this car. I wasn't even supposed to leave the boat. I ended up getting in big trouble because it's like against policy to leave that boat. So I do, and I'm driving through Lawrenceburg, have no idea where I'm going, except I'm like, if I'm right and he lives in Franklin, Indiana, this would be his route of travel to cut through the country to get over to Franklin. So out of the 4 different ways he could have went, I go the way that makes the most sense for Franklin, Indiana. And I am hauling ass down like State Road 350, I think it is. And I come up on the fucking car, and it's just entering Milan, Indiana. And I call it off on the radio. A town marshal ends up coming in. He gets behind too. And as we enter Milan, Indiana, the bank robber, my car was a regular car. As soon as he sees a police car, he starts beating feet, speeds up, hits a car pulling out of this little restaurant called The Reservation. It hits that car, comes to a stop. We catch him, and he has all the bank robbery loot and all this stuff, like big grab. And the guy that he hit, when they're taking the information, his last name's Plump. And I'm like, are you related to Bobby Plump? Like the guy, Jimmy Chitwood, the guy from Hoosiers? And he was like, yeah, that's my uncle. And I was like, holy shit. That's more cool than me catching a bank robber. I was nephew right now than to catch this bank robber. So it's just funny how, little things in small towns all end up connecting each other when it comes down to it. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
If you grew up in a small town, I mean, that's like the best story you could possibly imagine.
I know. I mean, it would have been more cool if he actually would have hit Bobby Plump, but
But where would you get a tenderloin in Broad Ripple, though? Plump's last shot.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, they have it right here. They have by the way, they have the coolest patio in Indianapolis in the summertime. It's like an old converted house, and Bobby Plump took his Hollywood money or whatever money he had from his fame and bought this bar. And dude, it's a cool bar. Cool, very cool bar. Yeah. He doesn't have any involvement with it now. I think like his son or grandson or somebody's running it now. But I try to go there when I can when it's patio season.
Yep.
Yeah.
Sure. Well, thanks so much for coming on, man. Before we wrap up, just you want to plug any of your socials and any update or any upcoming dates you got for stand up? I know.
Yeah. At Todd McComas on all the socials, and then ToddComedy.com has everything for me. It's a one-stop shop. All my comedy dates are there. I will be in Davenport coming up in July to see you guys and hang out. But before that, I'm in Syracuse at some point in April, Louisville. I have a good run coming up.
I think you're also in Des Moines. Probably that's closer for Tyler in June, April.
Yeah, sometime in there. But ToddComedy.com, my calendar's on there. There's links to all three of my podcasts, and their websites are on there. There's the stores on there, shirts for that stuff.
1041, Dockheads,
and Funtown.
Funtown. Yep. He's probably adding 7 more. We just don't even know about him.
Yeah, I'll work on it for sure. I can't do any more. I have no more hours in the day until I get some editing help or something. That's it.
TA.
Yeah, TA. We know a guy.
Nice.
Go ahead.
I was slated to go to your January 3rd show, but my dad died later that day.
Oh, sorry to hear that, bro. That was January 3rd. Was where was I? January 3rd,
Kansas City.
Yeah, that's right. Kansas City. I'll be back there though. I'll be back there probably at the end of this year, before the year's up.
Excellent.
Do you guys ever hang out in Kansas City?
I have.
I love Kansas City.
I do too. It's a lot of fun.
It is.
So good.
My wife's side of the family lives down there, and we were actually down in Power and Light during the Super Bowl for half.
Dude, that would have been insane. They were on bye week in the playoffs when I was there, and it still was insane. Like, I don't know if they just declared a law, like you're not allowed to wear anything but Chiefs gear until we lose. I've never seen that before in a town. Like, Indy has Colts fans, but it's nothing like that. Like, everybody, kids, adults, everybody was in Chiefs gear everywhere you went.
And like jerseys too. Like,
like
real gear. You'll see little 10-year-olds in Travis Kelce gear.
You probably get locked up in Kansas City if you wear some knockoff gear from China.
That's all we buy here. Hey,
Especially now.
There's so many like off-color blue Colts jerseys at a Colts game. That's not our blue.
Thanks so much for coming on, man. We love having you. This was great. We can't tell you how much we appreciate it.
Yeah, dude. Thanks for having me. I'm glad we finally got together on it.
Yeah.
And I'll hit TA up about the technology behind this thing because this is cool and it sounds good. So
Yeah.
Oh yeah, this ends up on YouTube.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah, for sure.
I like it.
All right. And Bree, thank you so much for coming on. Thank you for being the person who had the audio issues because it's usually one of us assholes. So I'm glad it can be someone else for a change.
I'm glad to take the fall for you guys.
Are you going to get grounded for missing your curfew? But Marco.
All right. We're going to wrap up at Tyler Allen, at JJ Flagel, at K Pasta Primo, at Todd McComas, at Vanilla Gorilla. I don't know your social, Bree.
I don't know my social, Tanner. Just go to the Anomalies pod and look at where they're making fun of me all day. So
it begins with Marie or something like that.
Yeah, just look for the one that's always getting roasted with Marco.
Exactly.
Powered by Pro Sports Extra, at Pro Sports Extra on Twitter, every social. Follow along. Thanks so much for rocking with us. This was a lot of fun. Everybody, you have a great night. See ya. Is he?
Oh God, I'm so sorry, Brian. Don't invite me to your career day.
Is he?
Oh God, I'm so sorry,
Brian.
Don't invite me to your career day.